So the instructions of this project states that our video has to cover 1 day of our independent learning, but I feel like that wouldn't do justice for what I did this round. With that being said, I'll be showing off some of the highlights and my overall experience of what I did for my round 2. Visiting an airport at 7 in the morning may appear as a regular thing, but I'm here to do some panning practice, which means bringing that shutter speed all the way down and the aperture all the way up, or just by switching the mode to pan. What I learned today about panning is to not make any sudden moves and keep one part of the image aligned with your grid while establishing a fixed, steady posture. Doing all this will result in some sleek looking panning shots. I met up with a couple other people in my IL, Aaron and Mark, who are both also into photography. We planned together and decided to meet up at downtown San Jose, as it's a convenient, nearby place to practice our street photography, which is where you go into an urban area, such as a city, and take pictures of, well, anything you see really. Today I wanted to try something I was too afraid to do before, and that's incorporating subjects into my photos. And I gotta say, it really helped set the tone of many of my photos. I would reserve some days in my time card for editing, typically a day or two after a shoot. From what I've learned during this IL, there are no rules to editing, just adjust sliders until your heart is content. Personally, I try to preserve/enhance the mood of my photos via using white balance, contrast, exposure, and texture. There are some tips to editing that I've used frequently. Don't be ashamed to use presets and clicking that auto button. It's not being lazy, it's being efficient. I also don't stare at a photo for too long, and I take frequent breaks. Not only is it good for your body to not sit down for too long, but staring at a photo could make you miss certain mistakes, such as the saturation or color being off, or if it's crooked. You get the picture. The next day, or should I say, the next evening, Aaron and I met up at some random dead end in a really sketchy looking location. We were presented with a railroad track that led to a tunnel. We didn't pick this creepy area for the heck of it. We were going to light up some store-bought steel wool, adjust our camera settings, and we continued doing steel wool photography for a few hours, trying out some new ideas in the process, until our lighter eventually died. Needless to say, this led to some incredible looking shots. Damn. Nice. We did the same thing next week, only this time we had some new people. However, what made this time in particular more interesting is that we found an opening that led to a highway, and from there we took some long exposures of the cars passing by.
Got a good batch this time, finally a lot of cars.
And while editing, I wanted to show off the contrast between the dark surroundings and the beams of light from the steel wool and car lights. It was hard to do that without overexposing the beams, but after a good balance of applying whites and highlights, I got results that I'm very happy with. And after a last minute decision between Aaron and I, the next day, we agreed to head off to I departed from the Milpitas BART station, left at Montgomery, met up with Aaron, and got some coffee as we planned out our adventure. We started at the Bay Bridge and took some stellar shots there. I wanted to capture the immense size of the bridge and try to use humans as a resemblance. While we were in the urban portion of SF, I took some photos of the streets. Then we took the Muni to a park, which presented a nice contrast of natural, residential, and the urban skyline of SF. After making a quick stop by the Tanner's house from Full House, we took public transportation to Baker Beach, which presented the nicest view I've ever seen out of all of round 2. And nice views mean nice photos. I did a lot of experimenting with the Golden Gate Bridge. Then when it became too dark to hold my camera steady enough, Aaron took out his tripod.
Don't tell me it broke. Did it break?
No, it didn't.
Alright.
And we took some fantastic exposures of the bridge. Then we headed up some really tall stairs,
Gonna be so sore after this.
got a lift, took one last stop by Pier 39, and headed home for the night. I won't bore you with the editing process of the SF pictures, as it's mostly the same thing as downtown San Jose. Anyways, my round 2 was definitely a big leap ahead compared to my round 1. Though it was smooth for the most part, challenges that we came across was mostly due to us being busy. Another challenge was trying to improve my photos from round 1. I expect both of these to be problems in our upcoming rounds as well. Some advice I'd give to myself later on is to try to set my own photoshoot date so I won't have to be dependent on the availability of others, and to never back down on any new photo ideas and step out of my comfort zone. For future rounds, I hope that I can remember that acting on new ideas can push my photography skill ahead and can hopefully produce more and more masterpieces.